What I'm gonna do today, sell and cover call against my position in SSO. Now today the market is slightly up. S&P 500 about 0.75%. Nasdaq about 1.25% on hops of P stocks. SSO is a leverage ETF from ProShares. It is the ProShares Ultra S&P 500 ETF 2x leverage, and I already have a whole bunch of equity in it. Today is trading at about $60 a share, and I'm carrying it at an average cost basis of 58.14, and I have 400 shares of it. So in theory, I could sell cover calls against all of them. There would be 4 contracts. Remember, 1 contract equals 100 shares. Now on this one, I'm profiting about $700 on it. Today only is up 1.5, and I have a total gain of nearly 3%. I think I'm gonna write a cover call on half of my holdings. Regardless, I was gonna get rid of it because it is a leverage ETF, and as you guys know, there is what is called a volatility drag. So this is not a long-term hold. These are products designed for short-term trading, and that's what I'm gonna do. I bought it, I guess, when the market dipped, when the US-Iran war began, and I believe that right now the market is a bit ahead of itself, and I think it's a good time to get rid of them at a good profit, and that's what I'm gonna do. The other thing too is that this ETF charges you nearly 1%. In reality, is 0.9% expense ratio. So that's gonna eat into your profit. Now, can it go up more? Yes, it can also go down a lot. And because the market is going sideways, this is the worst that you can do with leverage ETF. Hold it when the market is going sideways, because again, the volatility drag and the expense ratio is going to eat into your profits. The other thing too is that the market is gonna soften up. I'm really a believer of that, because if the situation in the Middle East is gonna collapse, that's gonna result into a stock market drop. And I also believe that the last days the market has been rally. I believe that there is a lot of trading activity. It is not justified by the fundamentals. The other thing too is that if you guys look into the Buffett indicator and the CAPE ratio, the Shiller ratio, I believe the Shiller ratio sits currently at about 39, which is nearly all-time high. And every time that the Shiller ratio was over 35, the return over the past 10 years, or rather over the next, it's only been 2%. In the best case scenario, it was only 2%. There is a huge chance that it's gonna go sideways, and you're actually gonna lose money. It could be very well a negative return on the investment, and that's what history teaches us. So here I'm gonna go on quote details. I'm gonna go under the options tab. Okay, now if you remember, I'm carrying at about 58 and change a share, and now the expiration date of the option is April 17th, which is the day after tomorrow. Today, April 15th. So in the reality, I don't mind keeping the shares. I mean, if I get assigned, it's fine. I'm gonna collect the premium. If I do not get assigned, I'm still gonna collect the premium and I'm gonna keep the share. And now this ETF also pays dividend. The dividend is only about 0.75%, and the dividend is paid, I believe, quarterly. Let me double check that. Ex-dividend date was March 25th, so dividends are not a concern for now. But regardless, if you were to do this on an individual share that pays dividend, or an individual share which has a upcoming earnings day, you might want to keep that into consideration, but this is not the case. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now what I'm thinking about is letting this go at 60 bucks a share. Like you guys see here, it doesn't really make sense selling it for over 60 because there is nearly no premium. Okay, so again, I was gonna get rid of those shares anyways. I also believe that I bought those on margin, which is even worse. So I'm gonna go ahead and select a strike price of 60 bucks a share. This is gonna be nearly 50 bucks a share, or rather 50 bucks a contract. Like you see here, it is 50 cents a share because one contract is 100 shares. I'm gonna go ahead and hit on this one, trade options, sell to open. Now you can only do this if you have at least 100 shares of the underlying security, which I do. I actually have 400. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. April 17th, strike price 60, which is really only 8 cents away from the current price. Select price, type, and term. Now here, quantity, I'm gonna put 2 contracts. Okay, again, quantity 2 contracts, sell to open, SSO, expiration date April 17th, strike price 60, and this is a call option. I'm gonna select here market. I mean, you can select limit if you want, but I'm doing this for the sake of the video preview. Okay, this is gonna deposit in my account roughly 80 bucks, which is going to be in your buying power right away. And then on April 17th at 8 p.m. is gonna be in your activity transaction. Okay, I'm gonna place the order and I wanna see what is the the price the trade is going to be executed. It appears that it's going to be in between 40 cents and 50 cents a share for a total proceeds of about 79 bucks. So let's see. Okay, your order was successfully entered during market hours. I'm gonna get notified on E-Trade. I already got the notification on my phone. Okay, cool. Actually, I sold the option for 48 cents a share. So that's gonna translate into 96 bucks for 2 contracts, which is nearly 100 bucks. And then it took me really the time that you take to place a 2 gold, and that's it. That's all that you have to do. 100 bucks on an investment on nearly this is about 12,000 of an investment. You are talking about a 0.1% return in 2 days. Okay, if you can rinse and repeat and doing it with consistency, you see that you can boost your return on investment just by doing that, and it's not gonna take you about 5 minutes. Usually you want to do this when you already have equity built into the position, like I did.